I want to welcome everyone who has joined for inquiry today. I'm Joel Barna. I'm a member of the Austin Appamada Sangha, although I'm living in Albuquerque now and connecting via Zoom. And Flint was had made some dates available to some of the entrusted teachers to sit in for him on certain days. So I get to do it today. I'm very excited and very happy about the opportunity. And Maria, if you would, if people continue to enter, even after we start sitting, if you would just go ahead and let them in, that would be great. So let's start with about 10 minutes of sitting. And I ask you to sit upright and square your shoulders and align your shoulders with your hips and do all the things that Dogen recommends for entering into the ceremony of Zazen, for connecting with the entire universe with your bodily posture. Please join me in saying the robe chant. We'll just say it one time. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Well, it is a great delight to be joining you today. I see some new faces of folks that I don't think I've had a chance to talk with before, and many friends whom I've not had a chance to talk with in a very long time, and some whom I'm lucky to have talked with pretty recently. So this is great, and it's an honor. So I want to say I'm going to just give a little bit of a story for a frame, and then I want to read a poem that will take about 5 or 6 minutes to read. So I invite you to relax and put your feet up metaphorically for a bit, and then we can open for questions and responses. I want to say that early in May, I went to Oregon. I flew up to Portland and stayed for 10 days at Dharma Rain Zen Center in Portland, taking part in the Emerging Sangha Leadership Training. This is the second time that they've offered it. The first time was 3 years ago, and it was interrupted by the pandemic. And it's a fantastic program. It's led by the abbot there at Dharma Rain, whose name is Kakumyo Lo Chardet. He goes by K to a lot of people, since that's a lot for some people to say, and also by Sally Tisdale, whom you may know as an author. And there were fantastic programs. We covered Sangha structure and group dynamics and communication and giving feedback and having dialogue and fundraising and all sorts of subjects over the 10 days. And that was all very rewarding. And then we ended up doing some fun things that came at the end. And I want to say that the thing that most impressed me, that seemed most important to me in the program, well, two things. One, that I was very grateful to Peg and Flint and to all the members of our Sangha who have worked so hard to create the council structure and this kind of flexible, responsive structure for meeting change at Appamada, that work that's been going on for several years. And I got to talk with other people, some people in other Sanghas who are facing transitions and who do not have that sort of groundwork behind them, and who are making some difficult changes, in some cases pretty much on their own right now. So I'm grateful again for all this work that has happened and that is ongoing. And the other thing was the fun part at the end. It made a real impression on me that I, who normally think of everything as a big problem, could actually take part in fun around the presentation of the Dharma. So we did things on the last day, including we had our goal was to, in small groups, come up with a way to present concepts related to the Dharma, but not in a talk. It could be artwork, it could be a skit, so on. I was with two very inventive people who came up with the idea of just doing Pictionary to call out phrases from the Jewel Mirror Samadhi, a text that we had been chanting every day. and that was pretty much on everybody's minds. That was a lot of fun, a lot of laughter around that. And then other people presented skits. And it kind of reminded me, my wife is Jewish, and so I've heard of the Feast of Purim among Jewish people, in which people will deliberately violate the normal strictures of life, and in a fun way. And this was like that. There were several skits. A great one, presented by Suzanne, in which she questioned the use of Dharma names, and was met with very earnest and very sincere explanation of why it was a good thing to use Dharma names, and she just utterly resisted, and it was very, very funny. So there was that. And then finally, there was a little quiz on Buddhist-related topics presented by Sally Tisdale. And Suzanne and I, curiously, out of 14 people, ended up as the two finalists. Other people had been eliminated in this kind of survival game. 2 answers wrong and you're kicked out. And we ended up the last 2. And I actually won. I won a box of Minion Band-Aids as the grand prize. And it was because I correctly guessed, or more correctly guessed, the percentage of Buddhists among adherents of the world's religions these days. And if anybody's curious, I can come back to that later. But fun. While I was there, I was actually sleeping in the Zen Center's library, which is in a temporary building. And, I would just pick books off the shelves and flip through them and put them back carefully, as much in order as I could. But I ran across a poem. There was a book that was published during the early 1990s, which seems to be out of print now. I haven't been able to find it. It's called Buddha Gaya, and it's a collection of writings about Buddhism and ecology. And it opens with a poem by Rick Fields. And Rick Fields, you may remember, is the author of the wonderful book, How the Swans Came to the Lake, a kind of history of Buddhism in America, and many other books of poems and many other books. He was the founding editor of what became the Shambhala Sun magazine and one of the founders of Tricycle magazine, and just enormously influential and connected throughout the Buddhist world up until the time of his death, about in the late 1990s. So, in the spirit of fun, here is Rick Fields' poem, which I hope you will enjoy. And again, this is going to take about 5 minutes to read. The very short sutra on the meeting of the Buddha and the goddess. Thus I have made up. Once the Buddha was walking along the forest path in the oak grove at Ojai, walking without arriving anywhere or having any thought of arriving or not arriving. The lotuses shining with the morning dew miraculously appeared under every step, soft as silk beneath the toes of the Buddha. When suddenly, out of the turquoise sky, dancing in front of his half-shut, inward-looking eyes, shimmering like a rainbow or a spider's web, transparent as the dew on a lotus flower, the goddess appeared, quivering like a hummingbird in the air before him. She, for she was surely a she, as the Buddha could clearly see with his eye of discriminating awareness wisdom, was mostly red in color, though when the light shifted she flashed like a rainbow. She was naked, except for the usual flower ornaments goddesses wear. Her long hair was deep blue, her 2 eyes fathomless pits of space, and her 3rd eye a bloodshot ring of fire. The Buddha folded his hands together and greeted the goddess thus. O goddess, why are you blocking my path? Before I saw you, I was happily going nowhere. Now I'm not sure where to go. You can go around me, said the goddess, twirling on her heels like a bird darting away, but just a little way away. Or you can come after me. This is my forest, too. You can't pretend I'm not here. With that, the Buddha sat, supple as a snake, solid as a rock, beneath a bo tree that sprang full-leaved to shade him. Perhaps we should have a chat, he said, After years of arduous practice, at the time of the morning star, I penetrated reality, and now, not so fast, Buddha, I am reality. The earth stood still. The oceans paused. The wind itself listened. 1,000 arhats, bodhisattvas, and dakinis magically appeared to hear what would happen in the conversation. I know I take my life in my hands, said the Buddha, but I am known as the Fearless One, so here goes. And he and the goddess, without further words, exchanged glances. Light rays like sunbeams shot forth, so bright that even Shariputra, the all-seeing one, had to turn away. And then they exchanged thoughts, and the illumination was as bright as a diamond candle. And then they exchanged mind, and there was a great silence as vast as the universe that contains everything. And then they exchanged bodies and clothes. And the Buddha arose as the goddess, and the goddess arose as the Buddha, and so on back and forth for 100,000 kalpas. If you meet the Buddha, you meet the goddess. If you meet the goddess, you meet the Buddha. Not only that, this. The Buddha is the goddess, and the goddess is the Buddha. And not only that, this. The Buddha is emptiness, the goddess is bliss, the goddess is emptiness, the Buddha is bliss. And that is what and what not you are. It's true. So here comes the mantra of the goddess and the Buddha, the unsurpassed non-dual mantra. Just to say this mantra, just to hear this mantra once, just to hear one word of this mantra once, makes everything the way it truly is. Okay. So here it is. Earthwalker, Skywalker, hey Silent One, hey Great Talker. Not two, not one, not separate, not apart. This is the heart. Bliss is emptiness, emptiness is bliss. Be your breath, ah. Smile, hey, and relax, ho. And remember this, you can't miss. I would welcome the chance to talk with anyone who wishes to come forward.
Absolutely delightful, Joel, and so good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. I haven't been with Abhimata long or with the practice long, but one of the things early on that concerned me was that there wasn't much laughter. Every once in a while, an inquiry and so on, but it's like there isn't the practice of laughter, the practice of looking at how both wondrous and ridiculous our ways of exploring and our ways of living. And I even feel quite strongly that when things are very hard, there's still lots to laugh at and with, and many people to laugh with. So I'm just delighted by it. And yes, I'd be really interested in the opportunity, if you might offer it sometime, to share some of the kinds of activities and so on that you were talking about, because I think that when you intentionally place it there and experience the laughter and depth, I've long felt that when we laugh, our minds are more open in a different way than they are when we're just trying to be aware, period, or trying to learn something or whatever. I really feel that our minds are open to laughter when it is non-harming laughter. So much of it in our society is based on hurtfulness and ridiculing a person for something that they just are. And so I just really would appreciate the opportunity to work with a teacher or someone who's really thought about it a little, at least, to explore um, what comes for us of the Dharma when we're laughing together with it.
That's a Thank you so much, Becky. And again, it's wonderful to see you face to face and to talk with you. Um, I'm just thinking, that laughter seems to be a communal activity. That it is that even alone, that when we are laughing, we are laughing because we are connecting with memories or connecting with the possibility of connecting with other people. And as you say, there's much in laughter, as in much of human nature, which is based on establishing differences and treating people as outsiders and mocking them as outsiders and that kind of thing. But it's not always that way. It's also an expression of sympathetic joy, of expression of delight, of discovery, and those things that bubble up out of our nervous systems. And we do this strange kind of barking. I once read an essay about laughter by, darn, I'm blanking on his name, but an early 20th century French philosopher. I was actually taking a film course at the time, and we watched a lot of silent films, Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton and that sort of thing. And we're reflecting on what it was like to laugh with people in a movie theater, in a silent film where nobody was supplying us a laugh track or anything like that. Um, and those films had both aspects of what you're describing, the exclusion and the inclusion, and how those impact our humanity. So I want to follow up on what you're saying, and actually make a talk sometime that will depend on activities where people have the opportunity to explore these
I'll
things.
be there.
Okay, that's great. I know you'll be there. You're there a lot. So, does that feel complete? Or
Yes, thank you.
okay, thank you, Becky. Hi, Penelope.
Um,
Okay, now it's working.
I wanted to thank you so much for presenting that beautiful prose poem and just talk about the value of storytelling in our Dharma, our practice of learning the Dharma, and how important it is, because that was so beautiful the way he described the goddess. And you could just when you have a great story told, it involves all the senses, and so we can totally enter our whole being into the story, not just as we listen, we're always bombarded by the news, and that just activates some kind of anxiety mechanism in all of us, and it's not the full story. And it's a very, I don't know, I'm just, there's such a difference in that sort of storytelling or narrative that we have going in our background, all in our culture today. And then the time it takes where Buddha could sit down and say, all right, let's have a conversation. And then the transformation and the whole transference. And it almost made me think about, I was raised as a Catholic, and there were parts of that story that made me think of transubstantiation, where the host, Jesus. And I mean, that just was a thought that arose to me, but it was a beautiful story because it got you totally engaged. That's just what thank you for that.
And thank you, Penelope. I totally agree. I see that Jay has put a link to the poem at a site online. I was looking for it online, and I found several. I found a couple of versions that included everything but the mantra at the end, and a big truncation if that was left off. Um, but if anybody wants to follow up, Jay has put a link to the poem in chat. I saw that flash by. I want to say also that there's a way in which we respond to rhyme and to assonance and to alliteration and these other things that are within poetry that move us in ways that even the story does not, and that those are all going on in this poem in a very beautiful way. It seems like very, very simple language, but in fact, it's very careful, obviously very carefully crafted with those tropes and those means to let the story get even further inside than it might otherwise. So I really appreciate that. Does that feel complete to you, or would you have further comments or questions?
Well, the good news is it's never complete. Thank you. Ongoing interest.
Good.
Thanks.
We have Jay next. Oh, you
Hi,
have
Jay.
to put would you like to put your camera on, Jay, so that I can? Oh, let's have a look. I'll just take you off again and then do it again. There we go. Gotcha.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm back in the office, and the reception here keeps going in and out, so I don't know how well my sound is going to come through. But thank you, Joel, for that poem, or prose, ode, however we want to name it. It is, for me, very deep. And there's a lot, I don't know, the way I'm interacting with it. It's like, when the Buddha is walking, and then for me, the appearance of the goddess, like unexpectedly, is that the aha moments that we get, as we do our practice, and the sudden enlightenment. And actually, the part where he says, what do I do now? It's like, and actually during one of our Saturday, I think it was Women in Zen, I was like, once you get enlightenment, what happens then? You know what I mean? Like and to me, that it speaks to that for me, him asking like, what now? Right. And then the exchange of clothes and everything, it's like, it's what actually the beginning when we said the robe, right? It's like when you close your eyes and you realize that the unification of everything, we are everything already, and so where the ocean is like the wave is the ocean and the ocean is the wave, and it's all already, right? So it's that, so, oh my gosh, that it's so many things in it for me. It's so rich, and I'm happy that I found it because I really want to go through it again, like really experience it more slowly, like more intimately. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks for all you do for our sangha. The groups you participate in and enliven and everything that you bring. It's so delightful and
thank you.
So in keeping with the spirit of this poem, I would say. Here's the Buddha, the fearless one, the enlightened one, and his first reaction is, "Why are you blocking my path?" And then he has a minute and he says, "Okay, wait, I get to start over." And can meet the goddess where she is, and know that they are together in one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Rosemarie.
Hello, Joel. Thank you so much for that. This is going to echo some of the other comments, but I like Jay, I love the exchange between the two, the clothing. And speaking of fun, the Beatles song came to me. I am he and you are me. I forget how it goes, but some of you may remember it. It's this, and we are all together. It's just that came to me as something fun. And what Becky said about laughter, I'm right there. And as I've said to you before, the koans to me are very hilarious sometimes, these setups that they do. And it had come to me, these would be wonderful little skits. And, Peg has set up the idea of these studios, which would be a wonderful vehicle for this kind of exploration of some of the Dharma through some creative performance activities. So it's something that I've been thinking about, whether it's acting or dance or song,
Mm-hmm.
that could bring out a lot of fun and laughter. So anyway, just some thoughts. So thank you for this lovely, lovely piece.
Thank you. Hi, Bridget. Welcome.
It's good to see you. Well, I'm thrilled that you've had that time in Oregon. I've only been to that state on two occasions, but both times were quite magnificent. It's such a remarkable place from a physical beauty standpoint.
Right.
And when you read this, I just felt this welling sense of delight. Somewhere along the line, probably when I lived in Alaska, I worked with these gentlemen down in the basement of one of the mid-rise buildings in Fairbanks called the Northwood Building, and we finished some project and it got out and it was within the client's budget. So one of the men said, my blissometer has just gone off the scale. I'd never heard of a blissometer. I decided to adapt that as one of my metrics in my life. And that poem, hearing you read it, was a catalyst for a moment of blissometer elevation. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I too want to go back and read it, so I'm grateful to Jay for sending us the link.
No, no kidding. No kidding. So I was actually reading from a poem, or from a version that I printed out from photographs I made from the book. And then like I say, I tried to find a copy of the book to honor the people who published it and the authors and so on by purchasing it, but it appears to be out of print. So I'll keep searching. But thank you, Jay, again for posting that. I want to say something too about to connect with what Bridget is saying is that there are many times in intensives or workshops or talks, Peg and Flint have offered that it's important to connect to the positive emotions in our lives. That our brains are such that bad experiences and anxious thoughts they stick like Velcro, and the other things can kind of slide away. And that, as Rick Hanson, author of Buddha's Brain, suggests, it's very important when you're having a positive experience to do something that can let it register in your body, not just let it be a thought that flits through and then you go on to the next worry. So if, like me, you are still have a residue of the joyousness and fun, and the kind of bubbly feeling that comes from that poem, I would invite you to do what I'm doing and just put your hand over your heart for a minute and let that feeling sink down from wherever it's originating or spread out from wherever it's originating into your whole body, down to your fingertips, down to the tips of your toes, through your torso and up to the top of your head. And just let that settle in for a minute. Thank you. So I'm not seeing any other hands raised at this time. I would be happy to read the poem one more time before we close, if that would be okay. Anybody, if anybody opposes the idea, turn your thumbs down now. I'm not seeing it. Okay, so I'm going to read the poem again. The Very Short Sutra on the Meeting of the Buddha and the Goddess by Rick Fields. Thus I made up. Once the Buddha was walking along the forest path in the oak grove at Ojai, walking without arriving anywhere or having any thought of arriving or not arriving. And lotuses, shining with the morning dew, miraculously appeared under every step, soft as silk beneath the toes of the Buddha. When suddenly, out of the turquoise sky, dancing in front of his half-shut, inward-looking eyes, shimmering like a rainbow or a spider's web, transparent as the dew on a lotus flower, the goddess appeared, quivering like a hummingbird in the air before him. She was, or she, for she was surely a she, as the Buddha could clearly see with his eye of discriminating awareness wisdom, was mostly red in color, though when the light shifted she flashed like a rainbow. She was naked, except for the usual flower ornaments goddesses wear. Her long hair was deep blue, her two eyes fathomless pits of space, and her third eye a bloodshot ring of fire. The Buddha folded his hands together and greeted the goddess thus. "O goddess, why are you blocking my path? Before I saw you, I was happily going nowhere. Now I am not sure where to go." "You can go around me," said the goddess, twirling on her heels like a bird darting away, but just a little way away. "Or you can come after me, for this is my forest too. You cannot pretend I'm not here." With that, the Buddha sat supple as a snake, solid as a rock, beneath a bo tree that sprang fully leaved to shade him. "Perhaps we should have a chat," he said. "After years of arduous practice, at the time of the morning star, I penetrated reality, and now—" "Not so fast, Buddha. I am reality." The earth stood still, the oceans paused, the wind itself listened. 1,000 arhats, bodhisattvas, and dakinis magically appeared to hear what would happen in the conversation. "I know I take my life in my hands," said the Buddha, "but I am known as the Fearless One, so here goes." And he and the goddess, without further words, exchanged glances. Light rays like sunbeams shot forth so bright that even Shariputra, the all-seeing one, had to turn away. And then they exchanged thoughts, and the illumination was as bright as a diamond candle. And they exchanged mind, and there was a great silence as vast as the universe that contains everything. And then they exchanged bodies and clothes. And the Buddha arose as the goddess, and the goddess arose as the Buddha, and so on, back and forth for 100,000 kalpas. If you meet the Buddha, you meet the goddess. If you meet the goddess, you meet the Buddha. Not only that, this. The Buddha is the goddess. The goddess is the Buddha. Not only that, this. The Buddha is emptiness. The goddess is bliss. The goddess is emptiness. The Buddha is bliss. And that is what and what not you are. It's true. So here comes the mantra of the goddess and the Buddha, the unsurpassed non-dual mantra. Just to say this mantra, just to hear this mantra once, just to hear one word of this mantra once, makes everything the way it truly is. Okay. So here it is. Earthwalker, Skywalker. Hey, Silent One. Hey, Great Talker. Not two, not one. Not separate, not apart. This is the heart. Bliss is emptiness. Emptiness is bliss. Be your breath. Ah. Smile. Hey. And relax. Ho. And remember this. You can't miss. So, Maria, we have a chant that we say together toward the end, and let's go ahead and do that, and then close a little early today. Okay?
We do have Jay with a hand up. I don't know if you want to take that
Oh,
before.
I'm so sorry, Jay. I didn't see that. Please.
There we go.
I I hope it's okay. I just wanted to share like 3 lines from a poem that came to mind when the Buddha and goddess let go of words in order to communicate, right? And the little excerpt says, "I had this dream that we somehow evolved without vocal cords, and the only way we could talk to each other was by touching our own or each other's skin. And entire books were written entirely in hugs and hand holding and letting go of each other. And we would hold and touch and let go of each other in all these different ways to say all these different things." And it just made me think how deep our emotions are, and it transcends words, and we try to express everything we feel in the finite compression of words, and yet it's the un the things that cannot really be expressed by words. And the Buddha and the goddess said it, like, you have to let go of those things to get the deeper communication and expression. So yeah, thank you.
So true. You got it. So, Maria, help me. What should I do next?
And we could do caught in the 4 practice principles and then the echo.
Okay, very good. And is it possible for you to screen share those?
I could.
Thank you.
Just see where the so there we go. Oh no. So it's the 4 practice principles 3 times, and then we'll do the echo. Okay.
Very good. And I will ring the bell.
Okay. Would you like me to say it, Joel?
Oh, I'm sorry. If you are screen sharing, I'm not seeing it. But
Oh, right. Sorry. Hang on a moment. Let's have a look. See if I can. I'll just get it up. Sorry about this. I won't be one moment. There we go.
There we go. Okay, so we will say the 4 practice principles 3 times. I'll ring a bell at the end of the first 2 times and 2 bells at the end of the third one. And then Maria will switch to our echo that we will say together. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering. Holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher. Being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering. Holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher. Being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering. Holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher. Being just this moment, compassion's way. So we will read together the echo that is the first one, where it says echo daily. We offer the merit of our practice for the welfare of all beings everywhere. May all be relieved of suffering, free from fear, longing, aversion, and ignorance, and may we together with all beings realize the awakened way. My deep thanks to everyone who participated and joined us today. And Maria, you have an announcement at this time, right?
I do, Joel. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Joel. That was wonderful. And thank you, everybody, for being here and for showing up today. And if you'd like to make a contribution to Appamada, then please do go to the website at appamada.org/contribute. And there you'll see an opportunity to offer dana to teachers such as Joel and Flint and Todd and Laurie, as well as to other events. And you can also make a one-time contribution to Appamada, or you can sign up for regular contributions. So thank you all so much. And if you'd like to continue to meet and share, then please do stay right where you are, and we'll meet for a further 30 minutes on the virtual porch. Please do come and join me if you wish to. Thank you so much.